I'm starting to read this new book. It's called Because of Mr. Terupt. It's a story about the 7 kids, one amazing teacher, and the school year that changes their lives. It's the start of 5th grade at Snow Hill School, and 7 students find themselves thrown together in Mr. Terupt's class. Peter, the class clown, Jessica, the new girl, Luke, the brain, Alexia, the queen bee, Jeffrey, the slacker, Danielle, the pushover, and Anna, the shy one. They don't have much in common, and they've never gotten along, not until a certain new teacher arrives and helps them to find strength inside themselves and in each other. But when Mr. Terupt suffers a terrible accident, will the students be able to remember the lessons he taught them? Or will their lives go back to the way they were before 5th grade and before Mr. Terupt? September. Peter. It's our bad luck to have teachers in this world. But since we're stuck with them, the best we can do is to get a brand new one instead of a mean old fart. New teachers don't know the rules, so you can get away with things the old-timers would squash you for. That was my theory. So I was feeling pretty excited to start 5th grade since I was getting a rookie teacher, a guy named Mr. Terupt. Right away, I put him to the test. If the bathroom pass is free, all you have to do is take it and go. This year, the bathrooms were right across the hall. It's always been an easy way to get out of doing work. I can be really sneaky like that. I'll take the pass all the time and the teachers never notice. And like I said, Mr. Terupt was a rookie, so I knew he wasn't going to catch me. Once you're in the bathroom, it's mess around time. All the other teachers on our floor were women, so you didn't have to worry about them barging in on you. Grab the bars to the stalls and swing, try to touch your feet to the ceiling, swing hard. If someone's in the stall, it's really funny to swing and kick his door in, especially if he's a younger kid. If you scare him bad enough, he might pee on himself a little. That's funny. Or if your buddy's using the urinal, you can push him from behind and flush it at the same time. Then he might get a little wet. That's pretty funny too. Some kids like to plug the toilets with big wads of toilet paper, but I don't suggest you try doing that. You can get in big trouble. My older brother told me his friend got caught and he had to scrub the toilets with a toothbrush. He said the principal made him brush his teeth with that toothbrush afterward too. Mrs. Williams is pretty tough, but I don't think she'd give out that kind of punishment. I don't want to find out either. When I came back into class after my 4th or 5th trip, Mr. Terupt looked at me and said, "Boy, Peter, I'm going to have to call you. Different name, or better yet, you do more peeing than a dog walking by a mile of fire hydrants." Everybody laughed. I was wrong. He had noticed. I sat down. I didn't know what to do. My eyes got real big when he said that. I couldn't believe it. But that didn't matter. Mr. Terupt just went back to the front board and math problem he was going over. I sat there with my big eyes. Soon a smile too. "What do you say?" Marty asked. Marty's desk was right next to mine. "Nothing," I said. Ben and Wendy learned to cross their desks to hear. They sat right across from us. Our 4 desks made up table number 3. Mr. Terupt called us by table sometimes. "Nothing," I said again. It would be my secret. How cool was Mr. Terupt? His reaction was better than being yelled at like the old farts would have done. Some kids in my class would have cried out, not me. And somehow I think Mr. Terupt knew I wouldn't. It was his way of letting me know he knew what was going on without making a huge stink about it. I liked that about him. He sure could be funny, and I'm a funny guy. This year, for the first time in my life, I started thinking school could be fun. Jessica. Act 1, Scene 1. First day of school. I was nervous. Somewhat. The sweaty palms and dry mouth syndrome stuck. This wasn't surprising. After all, I was coming to a brand new place. My mom and I just moved all the way from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean, over here in Connecticut. So it was my first day in Snow Hill School. My mom came to help me get settled. We walked through the glass doors and beautiful entryway and stopped in the main office to ask for directions. A red-haired woman who proved to be exceptional at multitasking greeted us with a smile and a slight nod. She did this while the phone rested between her ear and shoulder, allowing her hands to scribble notes from a conversation she was having in her free ear with the brown-haired lady standing next to her. We waited. My fingers dug into the hardcover of my book. "Hi, I'm Mrs. Williams, the principal." This was the brown-haired lady speaking. She looked serious, all decked out in her business suit. Welcome to Snow Hill School. Can I help you with anything? We're looking for Mr. Terupt's moon, Mom said. I'm Julia Reitman, and this is my daughter Jessica. We're new in town. Ah, yes, it's a pleasure to meet both of you. Let me show you the way. Mrs. Williams led us out of the office. I glanced at the secretary one more time. She'd be a great character in one of my dad's plays, I thought. My dad directs small plays in California, where I still wanted to be. How are you today, Jessica? Mrs. Williams asked. Fine, I said, although I wasn't really. We followed Mrs. Williams across the lobby and upstairs in search of my new 5th grade classroom. The hall smelled stuffy but clean, like they'd just been disinfected. I wondered if the custodians had done that on purpose, to make a show of how clean their school was. I followed Mom down the blue speckled carpet and past the rows of red lockers where some kids were already unloading new supplies. I could feel all their eyes studying the new girl in town. After the stares came the whispers. My face burned. Here you are, Mrs. Williams said. This is your floor. There are 4 classrooms up here, all 5th grade, 2 on each side of the hall with the bathrooms right in the middle. Mrs. Williams pointed as she spoke. That's your classroom, she pointed again, room 202. Have a good first day. Thank you, Mom said, and I just nodded. Act 1, Scene 2. We walked into the classroom. The teacher looked up from his desk and smiled at us. The butterflies in my stomach fluttered as if I were on a tilt-a-whirl. Good morning. I'm Mr. Terupt, the teacher said as Mom and I walked in. He came right over to greet us. Good morning, Mom said back. I'm Julie Reitman, and this is Jessica. I think she's a little nervous being a new student. My tongue felt so swollen that I couldn't talk. I settled on returning Mr. Terupt's smile. It was a friendly one. Well, this is my first day too, so I guess we'll try to figure things out together, he said. My smile grew. Your seat is right over there at table 2. You're with Natalie, Tommy, and Ryan. Being near the window should give you some good reading light. That's a great book you have there, Jessica. I looked down at my book. A Wrinkle in Time. I rubbed my hand over the cover. I really like happy endings, I said. Me too, Mr. Terupt said. I'll do my best to give you a happy ending this year. I smiled again. I couldn't believe it. My teacher was new too, and he liked what I was reading. I don't know why, but somehow he made my butterflies disappear and my tongue shrink. Things were going to be okay. Luke. I like school. I'm good at it. I get all A's. So when Mr. Terupt announced our first math project, I was excited. Dollar words was crazy. Definitely not a worksheet problem like all the others I've ever been given. Not even close. We had to assume that a letter A was worth 1 cent, B 2 cents, C 3 cents, and so on, making the letter Z worth 26 cents. The challenge was to find words that equaled $1 when you added up their letter values. Not 99 cents or $1.01, but $1 exactly. Mr. Terupt gave us time to get started. He wanted to make sure we understood the project, and he said he wondered who would be the first one to find a dollar word. I immediately made a data table of all the letters and their corresponding values. A quick reference for me. Then I started putting down any word that came to mind that had some of the bigger letters in it. Pretty, 104, walnut, 91, Mr., 84. Then I thought, hey, wait a minute. What if I just tack on the letter S? Mister's 103. No good. But very close. I figured this could still be a worthwhile strategy for other words. So there I was cranking out words, trying to find the first dollar word of the year. When what do I hear? Peter and Alexia. This is the 4th year Peter's been in my class, and my 3rd time with Alexia. Peter's funny, but sometimes he gets to be too much. If I'm concentrating on my work, and he just wants to joke around, it annoys me. But I like him. He's fun, and he's no stranger to trouble. Alexia, on the other hand, is always involved in some girl war. The stuff I don't get. She loves to wear flashy clothes, dresses, skirts, fancy shoes, and she always has the accessories to go with them. And she says the word like way too much. Alexia isn't a stranger to trouble either. She and Peter are a good match. Peter elbowed Alexia. Then I heard him whisper a word to her. That's not even close to $1, I thought. 53, Alexia said. No good, try. Were they crazy? They were trying out rude words and giggling the whole time. I knew they were going to get caught. That's no good either, Peter said. Maybe, what a butthead. As soon as I thought it, I knew it was a word worth calculating. Sure enough, butthead equaled 81. I tacked on the S. There wasn't just one butthead, but two buttheads. Dollar word. I was just about to call out that I had found one when Peter beat me to it. I got a word, he yelled. Buttocks. He strutted to the board like it was the coolest thing since sliced bread and wrote it for the class. Buttocks, he began again. Buttocks. Peter went on to demonstrate how the word added up to $1. Mr. Terupt didn't interrupt. Just as I was about to, the new girl did. Spelled with a K in it, Peter, Jessica said. Peter looked at Mr. Terupt. Sorry, Peter, she's right. Better try again. Maybe you should choose a different type of word than the ones you've been coming up with. Peter slunk back to his seat. No surprise to me. Mr. Terupt knew what Peter was up to the whole time. I raised my hand. Mr. Terupt, I got one. I walked up to the board and wrote butthead. That was followed by a chorus of laughs. Butthead, I said. Butthead adds up to 81 cents, but if we add more than one, then we got buttheads. And buttheads is a dollar word. Just ask Peter and Alexia. Mr. Terupt snickered. That's enough, Luke. I must say, this isn't a word I was expecting, but nonetheless, it's our first dollar word. Congratulations. Dollar Words was the best math project ever. We started it on a Wednesday, dollar word, and worked for 3 weeks through trial and error, a few strategies that I learned along the way, and some helpful hints from Mr. Terupt. I broke the record for most dollar words. My final poster was covered with 54 of them. Mr. Terupt looked at my work and smiled. Luke, this is excellent. Dollar word. You are the dollar word champ.